Dangerous talking, top rope walking, ultimate Xing, serious flexing, never be vague with your boy Craig, and opinion mixing from Pete to Nixon, keep doing things in an impactful way, bloody nonsense as the Brits say, talking bloody nonsense.
Yes, it's me, it's the M.I.C. Craig, aka Mr. Impact, joined as always by the one and only Peter Nixon, and of course our special guest, backed by popular demand, the Booker Man of DOA Wrestling, Alec Burnitt. How are we doing?
Yeah, all good this end. I've got this one little strand of hair that's just sort of floating. I can't seem to get it to do anything. So enjoy that for the rest of the podcast.
Suits you.
Oh, does it?
And stick with it.
Okay. It's like a reverse.
Maybe if you find,
yeah.
If you find room in the TNIW budget, maybe we'll hire some stylists for us in the future.
Okay.
Yeah, trying to hire some stylists. But yes, it was Slammiversary this past Monday morning. A lot happened. Before we get into it, let's take a look at the power rankings from this last Slammiversary combined with the impact from last week. It's over to the power rankings.
Number 10, Moose. Number 9, Eric Young and BBD. Number 8, Digital Media Champion Rich Swann. Number 7, The Impact Originals. Number 6, New Tag Team Champions, The Good Brothers. Number 5, The Death Machine, Sami Callihan. Number 4, New Tag Team Champions, Team Ragnarok. 3, New X Division Champion, Speedball Mike Bailey. Number 2, New World Champion, Jordan Grace. Number 1, and still World Champion, Josh Alexander.
And we're back. Those are the power rankings. Agree, disagree, let us know. It was probably difficult to pick, but let's just jump straight into it and go for TBN's Slammiversary review. We started off on the. We'll go for the pre-show matches like we always do. We'll put those two together, and so the first match on the pre-show we had Rich Swann defending, but not in possession of his Digital Media Championship. Facing Brian Myers, Rich Swann retains the Digital Media Championship and now has physical possession of the title. And also, it was the return of the Reverse Battle Royal, won by Shark Boy, but featured the likes of Aiden Prince, Crazy Steve, Mike Jackson, Nate Webb, Raj Singh, Shogun, Slash, Zicky Dice, Chase Stevens, Steve Macklin, Chris Babe, Bhupinder Gurja, Mahabali Shira, David Young, and Johnny Swinger, with Shark Boy eliminating Johnny Swinger last. And Alex, since you're the guest, we'll start off. What was your thought on the pre-show and your thoughts on the results of the matches?
Yeah, I thought both were good. I think Rich Swann and Brian Myers was good. It wasn't like spectacular or anything, but it didn't need to be. It was solid. Rich Swann's a lot of fun. It was just there. It was a good opening match. The Reverse Battle Royal, I loved it. I thought it was so much fun. It was great seeing the Sinister Minister, even if it was just for a split second. Really, it wasn't much, but it was still cool. Disappointed we didn't get like Cheeks or something to come out and right, but I thought it was really fun. And I think you said on your last show that a babyface needs to win it, and Shark Boy is great, for what it is. I thought it was fun. I didn't have any problems with it, and I enjoyed it. So,
I mean, if you've got a problem with that reverse battle royal, then you're certainly not an Impact Wrestling fan. You're not really a wrestling fan either.
Yeah, I think actually that it was more entertaining than just having all those people in a standard battle royal would have been, because they would have just been against the ropes trying to get each other out or whatever, and then they just would have been, pretty bland. Whereas this had its various stages to it, and actually I think made it more entertaining than if it was just a regular battle royal. And just the Chris Bay cutter was pretty nasty. But if you're someone like him and Macklin, who probably better than this match, they're above this really, but they wanted to try and have a moment in it that would be the most memorable, I guess. But yeah, they're both above it really, but overall a lot of fun for me. I really enjoyed both matches.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Swan and Myers was fine. It was just like a TV match, really. I felt like they had a bit of a time constraint on them, and it was just a bit of a nothing match. It felt like Brian Myers did the absolute minimal, like the most basic stuff, just so he could be in and out and not get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I was fine with it. Rich Swann is tremendous. And I look forward to see what he does with the Digital Media Championship. And the Reverse Battle Royal, a lot of fun. I thought the Mike Jackson bit with Shearer, where they're walking the tightrope across the barrier, went on forever. I thought because I was looking at the clock, thinking, the pay-per-view is going to start soon, and is Mike Jackson going to be, walking around the barrier during the Ultimate X match? Hell of a good, fun way to start the 20-year anniversary of TNA/Impact Wrestling. The only other takeaway I had from the match was how good David Young looked, considering we haven't seen him in like 15 years.
Yeah. Got that spine buster in his back, didn't he?
It was an interesting start to the show. Like we say on here, the countdown, the pre-show, whatever you call it, is a vital part of the pay-per-view. Like you said, it's free. Everyone can watch it whenever they want. And Rich Swann, Brian Myers, I said it on our Talking Points, which you can go watch on the YouTube channel. If you want to have a kickoff match, a decent kickoff match to get people hyped for pay-per-view, Rich Swann is someone you look to for that match. And he delivered again. Have a look a few times, but he's delivered again. As far as the Reverse Battle Royal goes, I mean, the winner was what it was. Seeing Chase Stevens back was cool. I've always been a big fan of that, of the Naturals. Chase Stevens, cool. Slash coming back, great. All in all, a solid match, solid opener. As a whole, out of 10, what would you give the pre-show out of 10, Alec?
I guess 7, which I think is good for a pre-show, because you're not expecting it to, blow you away, but it was good fun. I did think that giving James Mitchell with Slash the only people who had a proper entrance, and then Slash didn't do anything. He literally, I would have at least had him get in the ring, to kind of do maybe a little bit more. But I thought it was fun. I don't really have anything particularly negative to say about the pre-show. That's to come.
Nixon.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 6, purely because the Impact pay-per-view or Impact Plus pre-shows are always really good, and I don't know, it wasn't as good as some of the others. As I say, I was a little bit let down with Brian Myers' performance, and the Reverse Battle Royal, it was fun, but it wasn't an absolute classic, you know what I mean? And I think the reason that Slash and James Mitchell are the only entity that got an entrance is so we could hear that banging entrance theme again.
Yeah,
A song
yeah,
that,
probably.
that they used on the very first TNA pay-per-view back in 2002.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I know he's now doing stuff with NWA, which has actually been a lot of fun to see. But I every time James Mitchell is on anything, I think he's great. I think he could still, maybe not so much. I know he did the stuff with like the Undead Realm and all that kind of thing, but just as a straight up manager for someone, I think he's still got something to offer. I think it could be great to have back more regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someone like PCO would be cool. I doubt that'll happen, but I think that'd be.
Yeah, I think he has other commitments now. I think he's like an old lounge singer, isn't he?
Brilliant.
Yeah, he does like Sinatra and that.
He's like my own.
So as a whole, I'm with Alec. I think 7 out of 10 is solid. It did its job, and it was a good start. Then we really got into it with the X Division Ultimate X for the X Division Championship. Speedball Mike Bailey is the new X Division champion after defeating Ace Austin, Alex Zane, Andrew Everett in place of Jack Evans, Kenny King, and Trey Miguel. Nixon, go ahead, and what was your thoughts on this one?
Hell of an opener. Really good Ultimate X match. I don't know where it stands in terms of all-time great Ultimate X matches, because they'd be impossible to rank. But yeah, great performances from everyone, including Kenny King. And even though I predicted Ace Austin to win because of his Bullet Club momentum, I think it was the right decision to go with Speedball now, because although he debuted at the start of the year and he was sort of lukewarm in terms of his crowd reaction, people have started getting behind him, and he's hot now, so it's a good time to put the X Division Championship on him. So yeah, I thought it was a really, really good match, and the right person won.
Alec.
I enjoyed it. It was really good. I think the wrong person won, mainly because Ace Austin kind of won it. Then he went off and did the stuff in Japan and hasn't really had much of a run. Like I feel like this kind of happened the last time he held it. He didn't have much of a run. It kind of felt like it anyway. I think he should have held it for longer, and I feel like Speedball should have won the title in a real kind of feud ending kind of match, like a one-on-one, a singles, like and overcome the heel, that kind of thing, as opposed to in a multi-man. But it was good. It was good. And as an opener, it was great. And it's one of the better Ultimate X's, I think. There've been loads, but they're definitely one of the better ones in recent memory for me. I was glad Jack Evans wasn't in it because I don't really like him. So although I don't wish an injury on anyone, and nothing like that. But I like Andrew Everett, so it was a nice replacement for me. I was like, okay, this is cool. I like Everett. Alex Zane, I haven't actually seen that much of him, but it looks really good. It was fun. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Honestly, I'm on the same page as you in regards of Andrew Everett and Jack Evans. I know of Jack Evans, and I've seen what he can do, but Andrew Everett, I think that him returning was a little bit sweeter than if it was Jack Evans, because of that history he had with the company, and should have been X Division champion in his first run, in my opinion. So it's nice to see him back. Hopefully it's not the last time. All in all,
Jack Evans is old school, OG Team Canada. I'd say he's got more history of the company than Andrew Everett. And it would have been cool to see him back on an Impact stage. I'm gutted for him that he didn't get that opportunity, but I'm sure he'll get that opportunity in the coming weeks.
Yeah, and then, like I say, it's not a personal thing. I don't, I wouldn't choose to have him go down with an injury. I'm just talking from a personal preference.
Yeah.
In ring, I'm a fan of Andrew Everett. I'm not so much a fan of Jack Evans. So, I wasn't disappointed with the replacement in that sense. But obviously, I don't choose for someone to get injured.
So, as a whole, out of 10, Ultimate X, Nixon, what are you going with?
8.5.
There? Alec?
I would go higher, but again, I think the wrong person won. So I'll go 8. That's fair.
Yeah. See, I'm with Nixon, and it is an 8.5 because of Speedball Mike Bailey. I've been a fan of him for years, and it's. I called it when he debuted. Within a year, he'll be X-Division champion. I did the same with Ace Austin when he debuted, and Chris Baker for that matter. So, and to see it actually happen, loved it. Although on talking points, I did get called out for Speedball not hitting the floor with the title.
Yeah,
is it daffodil anyway?
Tom Hannafin even said that on commentary. You need to retrieve the championship and reach the floor with the championship. And they rang the bell whilst he was posing on the X.
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't really. That has to be an awkward jump,
especially barefoot.
But yeah, so I don't think it takes away anything from the match. Yeah, it felt a bit anticlimactic because you thought he had to touch the floor, didn't, rang the bell, so you didn't quite know what's happening. But Speedball Matt Bailey's X-Division champion, and I cannot wait to see what he does as champion. Then we moved on to Knockouts tag team action. The tag team titles on the line. Rosemary and Ty Valkyrie, Team Ragnarok, my premonition became a reality as they defeated the influenced Madison Rain and Neil Dashwood to win the Knockouts tag team championships. Unfortunately, in the match, Madison Rain suffered an injury. Has 2 injuries. She's injured both of her nasal. I'm not sure exactly what the injury is, but her nose is essentially broken. But yeah, Alec, what was your thoughts on the match? The shortest match on the card.
Yeah. It wasn't amazing. I think that at least Rosemary and Ty Valkyrie is a more interesting pairing at the moment. I didn't feel like particularly had a lot of momentum or anything. So I kind of feel like this had to be the result, and it was the right result. But yeah, it was just, again, it was just kind of it was there. It happened. I'm glad that the Knockouts tag titles were on the main show, but it wasn't the best showing for that division or those titles, I don't think. But it was what it was. It was fun. I'm a massive fan of Rosemary. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy with the result, but the match could have been more.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm the same, Eric. I think the match was there. It served a purpose. It was pretty much just there to get these 4 women on the show and get the titles changed. I didn't think the match was outstanding. It was fine. Nothing wrong with it apart from Madison getting injured. But yeah, the right team won, and it leaves more options for challengers going forward, because it was the Influence show for a long time, and ever since the Inspiration disappeared. So like we spoke about last week, I'm interested to see what Havoc does now that Rosemary's got a new partner, with the championships.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. It was there. It happened. Cool. Shout out to Tyre, who now holds the AAA reign to reign as recently became the MLW Featherweight Women's Champion and now the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Champion. Three bouts, three different promotions. No, fair play to Taya. But yeah, it was a cool match. What's your again rating out of 10 for this one, Alec?
5. It did
Nixon.
like I wouldn't remember it like in a week's time. Like I couldn't tell you a single spot that happened in the match. Like I know who won, and I think it was there for the moment of them winning, as opposed to for the match itself, you know, which is fine. But yeah, it was a pretty nothing match for me.
I think 5 is generous. I'll go 4.
I was trying to be generous. I thought it can't be too harsh. It's meant to be a positive impact podcast.
I know, but we'll we've got positive stuff to come.
Yeah. Pro wrestling, but also unbiased. So that was the Knockouts tag titles. We then we had a massive change of pace in the Monsters Ball. Sami Callihan defeating Moose. And they got some time for this one. Got 16 minutes for it. Rightly so. So what was your thoughts on this match? I mean, I don't know where you're starting it, but what's your take on it?
I loved it. I love this style of wrestling. I don't know if I could watch it all day, but I think it was a great blow off to, because I can't see them having any more matches after this. Great blow off to the feud, considering Moose was the one that injured Sami. Sami came back seeking revenge. He got that revenge, and now they can both sort of move on. I love the throwback to the first ever Monsters Ball, where they had the two locked away for 24 hours, no light, no food, no water. Well, that was a lot of fun. Some really fun, disgusting spots. And I really enjoyed it. I predicted Moose to win. I think I was the only person in the TNIW family that predicted Moose to win.
Yes.
Because Sami doesn't need to win matches. He just comes in, does his thing, and he's over. So that's why I predicted Moose to win. But yeah, I wasn't dissatisfied. I thought Sami winning after the 3 pile drivers was awesome.
Well, Alec, what's your take on it? And was it the right call? Was the right person selected to win?
No. Moose is great. Like, I'm a massive fan of Moose, and I just think he's better than this type of match. I don't know. I didn't enjoy it at all. It's not my sort of thing particularly. I guess if it's done well, or it's 2 people that I really enjoy, then I can get on board with it a bit more. But I'm not a fan of Sami Callihan. I don't get it. For me, I just don't see what he brings to the table. I don't get it. He irritates me. He's got kind of like changed the channel with me. Like I would. I don't skip anything, particularly because I end up having conversations about it now. But yeah, if I was to skip one person on the show, I didn't miss him when he was gone, put it that way. And again, it's not personal, just don't get it.
No.
So yeah, for me, the wrong person won. And yeah, I didn't enjoy it. They did the lock 'em in the room thing recently, didn't they? For the last Monsters Ball, did they? For PCO, was it PCO and Jonah?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They started it as they sort of got out of the room, sort of started fighting. Yeah, it's a nice touch. And with this one, with like struggling with his eyes, and then Sami jumps in from behind. I thought it was a good start and good, like hot open, And the powerbomb onto the trash can, that was creative. Like that looked quite cool because I've not seen that before. Yeah, but just rolling around in like thumbtacks and things. It's not my cup of tea really, but yeah, here's what it is.
I mean, I get it. I know a lot. This style isn't for everyone, but if you're gonna give the style of match to anyone, I think Sammy and Moose, you know, they're gonna take it and go with it and give it their all. But I understand that this style of match isn't for everyone. But as the thing with Impact, they have something for everyone. So there is that. But out of 10, what are you giving it, Nixon?
I'll go 8 for this one.
Alec?
6.
Okay. So now we'll go on to the men's tag team titles.
We're not getting a rating from you, Craig?
Oh, for Monsters Ball, 8.
Yeah.
They smashed it. I'm not. I said it on the talking points. I'm not really a big fan of doors being used in wrestling on TV wrestling. There's something about it for me, but they made it work. And Sammy, as I said, Sammy has had bang after bang on Slammiversary, and has earned the right to be called Mr. Slammiversary. But yeah, back to the tag team titles. My streak is over. I'm now 4-1 in the tag team division, with the Good Brothers picking up the win against the Briscoes and becoming new Impact World Tag Team Champions. Alec, what was your thoughts on this one?
I thought
a lot of people.
The match was decent. I'm a massive fan of the Briscoes. I think they're pretty much them and FTR are my, probably for me, best tag teams in the world. But I mean, it felt like the wrong team won. It kind of felt like if the Good Brothers were going to take the titles now, I'd have rather, especially if the Briscoes are sticking around a bit, then I'd rather the Briscoes hadn't won them yet, because I'd rather their run, you know, they won them and kept them for a bit longer. It felt very abrupt. It might be because Mark Briscoe, the newborn, which I saw a post, was like 13 weeks early or something, you know, crazy. So it might be he needs to be at home, and that's absolutely acceptable, you know. So if that's the case, then I have no issue with it. If it was a case of this is the booking decision and always was going to be, then I kind of think it's the wrong decision. But the match was good. I enjoyed it, and the bit after the match, whilst it didn't make much sense that they were all having a beer together after the kind of bad blood between the Briscoes and the Good Brothers and fighting on the farm and all that stuff, it was still cool to see AMW. Yeah, I don't think Chris Harris has got much left in the tank. I don't think he wrestles anymore, but James Storm looked great. So, you know, it would have been nice actually to see James Storm do something more physical, because he's still out there working and still really good. But yeah, the match was good. Just, you know, I wouldn't have gone with that result.
Yeah, I mean, on James Storm, quickly, I had to see a post today. He's coming over to the UK. He's doing a few shows over here, and it's Matt Powell, the head booker of PWL Personal Life in the UK. Yeah, he's in charge of his bookings. So can't wait to see James Storm come over here. But Nixon, what was your take on the match and that whole thing afterwards?
Yeah, the same. It was fine. It was good. I don't think it was the Briscoes or the Good Brothers' best performance. But the match was fine. Didn't offend me. I'm fine with the Good Brothers winning the tag titles back, because now they can, you know, take them over to Japan and basically do what Finn Juice did, have a run with them in Japan, and then when they come back, maybe drop them back to the Briscoes. I know it's hot shot in the belts, but if it means Mark can spend some time at home, I think, you know, that makes sense. You know, like we said, Eric, AMW coming out and they're more having a cheers in the ring just didn't make any sense, considering they'd done the stuff on the farm and that. But I think it was you, Alec, pointed out if they'd have done a Bullet Club beatdown on the Briscoes afterwards and have AMW save the Briscoes, that would have made more sense.
Yeah, they didn't have to be getting physical. They could have literally music hit, they run down, slide the swing, and Bullet Club bail. That's all it needed to be. You know, I don't know what other Bullet Club people were there, but Ace Austin was definitely there. Chris Bay was definitely there. So those guys, even just the four of them, could have jumped on the Briscoes. You know, AMW make the save and have a beer with them. That would have made more sense. Unless this is Good Brothers face turn, then, you know, but I can't see that. So yeah, that didn't make much sense, but it was still cool to see AMW.
Well, I mean, Good Brothers, you know, their Bullet Club, they get a face reaction 9 times out of 10 anyway. So, you know, they come down, they're too sweet and everyone. Yep, you know, I'd say it's pretty babyface behavior. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's just, I think the main point people are focusing on here was that promo from James Storm, and it was a Impact was supposed to be around 20 days, let alone 20 years. So I think what the moment was cool. From what I saw between the Briscoes and Good Brothers after the match, there was that little look of respect there. I think that's where it came from, maybe. But yeah, great match. And so not how it is. It's out of 10. Alec, what are you giving this one?
7.5.
Yeah, I'll go 7. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think 7 is about right for that one. It was a good match, like they can put on, but I don't get into too much because timing. But I mean, the Good Brothers, I don't know why they need to win the tag titles again. I really don't. It's especially with the rumors of them circulating that they're leaving. Obviously, probably not now, but it also could be the Impact thing of putting the belts on them as a way to say thank you and goodbye, which I don't like, and a lot of people don't necessarily like.
Well, they don't. If that's the case, they don't need it because they've been the champions twice already.
Yeah. It's
if you had. I mean, if the Briscoes are leaving, you know, the next Impact tapings are like a day after or whatever. So, you know, if they're around at least for those tapings, then, you know, I'd have rather had spark off something with Honor No More and had OGK take them on the tapings or something, you know, and then you've got that for the Briscoes to come back to. Because I'm not really interested, because I think especially after the toasting with the beer, I don't think there's anything for the Briscoes to come back to with Good Brothers because they've had a beer with them now, so it's all cool, even though they've just beaten for the belts. Whereas I think if at least they were at TV, then they could have set something off there, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
OGK, great. So.
Yeah, I can't agree more. Speaking of OGK, next matchup, 10-man tag, the Impact Originals versus Honor No More. As going into the match, we knew of Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, Frankie Kazarian, and Nick Aldis. Of course, it was the return of Dixie Carter, which people already knew about. Most people knew going in. Came out, said thank you, all that jazz, and then introduced the fifth man, and it was Davey Richards. A lot of people didn't think of Davey being part of this match. No one thought it'd be Davey. But Nixon, what did you think of this one? Return and the match, and of course that spot with El Hebner and Tracy and D'Lo and all that, everything that happened in that match. What was your thoughts on it?
Got to say about this match, I was weirdly more excited to see Dixie Carter than I was Davey Richards. I think Davey Richards is a hell of a performer, but him being the mystery partner felt a little underwhelming, considering the possibilities. You know, if they always planned on having Davey Richards as the fifth guy, they should have announced it on TV instead of having it as a mystery. But it makes total sense considering Eddie Edwards is the leader. I want to know more. You know, the American Wolves, one of the best tag teams in the last 10 years. Yeah, the match I thought was fantastic. Really, really enjoyed it. And it was a wonderful dog and pony show at the end with D'Lo hitting the sky high on was it Kenny King, wasn't it? Alec's favorite child. And then Tracy Brooks, Tracy and Earl Hebner getting involved was just fantastic. So I thought it was a really, really fun match.
Great. Alec.
Firstly, Scott Moore, Team Canada style was wicked. Loved that. That was great. Yeah, I kind of agree that in the promo that the Impact Originals did earlier in the night, they ended the promo with Nick Aldis saying a line about the different calls they had or whatever. There could be only one. I thought it was like an AJ tease. Yeah, a phenomenal one. I was like, wow, this is big. And then
I instantly went to Chosen One.
Okay, yeah. Well, I went, but same. Like, either of those would have been bigger than what we got. AJ would have been more unexpected than Jarrett, maybe. But Davey did seem underwhelming, and I think you're right. They should have announced that on TV if they knew that was going to be the one that they were going to do, because they could have made it feel like a bigger deal. Him like making a save on TV, face to face with Eddie, and then telling the story a little bit on TV of why this is a cool thing, retelling American Wolves a little bit of background. So I felt like it felt a little bit flat because they still could have had Dixie come out and intro and then bring out the whole team,
Yeah.
So yeah, it felt a little bit flat in that regard. I love D'Lo. That was cool. I liked the thing for Earl Hebner. It was Brian Hebner's last night. And obviously Dave Hebner's just passed away as well, so it was a cool moment for them. Seeing Tracy was cool. Just a lot of nostalgia bits in there. But still, it just I don't know. I don't know whether I went into this event maybe with my expectations too high in some places, but it was all right. The actual match itself, like until like the last 5 minutes when it kind of went a bit batshit, it was just all right. I didn't feel like Aldis added anything really to the match. Looked like a spare prick at a wedding. He just didn't stand out really to me. I also weird. I feel like PCOs are weird in that group because like he was on TV teaming with W Morrissey. As like a babyface, but then he's part of Honor No More, and I just think that he should. He took the pin, right? So I think maybe their first loss being because him getting pinned, maybe that's because they're going to kind of shift him because people love him. So shift him out of the group, put someone else in. Maybe you don't even have to put anyone else in necessarily, but for me it was a little bit underwhelming.
Honestly, like I have to agree in a lot of sense what you just said there. The match itself, I said it on Talking Points, it felt a little bit too fast and I had no idea what was going on for most of it. I said before, I'm not a huge fan of 10-man tags, but when they're done right, I'm into them. Like most things. This match felt really fast, and I know Lucha pointed out that it's TNA Ring of Honor. They're born on fast-paced wrestling, but it just felt like a lot going on. Then, like the last 5 minutes, obviously the TNA fan came out and all of us then, and we lived all of that. But the match itself, Honor No More, it has potential to be one of the biggest factions in Impact, and as far as team impact goes, Davey, I agree. It did kind of feel a bit anticlimactic, but it's difficult to know who's not to blame, but who that's on, in the sense of, is it on the fans for thinking, oh, it could be someone from WWE currently on the roster, or could be a TNA Hall of Famer, icon, whoever it was. Obviously, we heard the rumors that AJ Styles was supposed to be at Slammiversary. It could have maybe been him, but that fell through at last minute. Who knows? But I agree, the match was good. But I got lost a fair few times, not knowing what was going on, because a lot was going on at once.
Do you know, it was only today that I put two and two together and realised the match was TNA versus ROH. Because I had totally disassociated ever since Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor. I totally disassociated Honor No More from Ring of Honor. They felt like just an invading heel faction in the last couple of months. So yeah, I didn't even tweak the match with TNA versus ROH.
I think for me that tweaked quite early on. I was looking at it thinking, this is the purpose of this group. You know, I mean, this was the match that, that this Honor No More thing, both companies started in the same year. This is 20 years. I mean, ROH barely exists anymore, but it kind of does, I guess. But, that's 20 years as well. And I if they were coming in and using the ROH name, which obviously is not possible, I feel like that would have played a part in this story as well, them talking about it, but yeah, I feel like it could have been. I just sat there and thought, well, the AMW thing was really cool. Like, James Storm was such a better option to be the fifth man, former world champion, and just iconic really as a TNA person. I just feel like he would have been a better option maybe if he was in the building at least.
Yeah, that's special. So just before we move on to the Knockouts World Title and the World Title, quickly out of 10, Alec.
6.
It's
8.5.
Yeah, I think that's for me, I'd say 7. I split the difference there, but yeah, cool match, but for me, a bit too fast paced. But I mean, after this match, I'll go through. We had a lot of returns in this pay-per-view, and I'll quickly run through and get your thoughts on just on these videos, on these segments. We started off with a video from Sting, followed by Kurt Angle. That was followed by Dixie Carter. We then had a video for Mike Tenay and Don West. Early in the show, we had a quick thing about Bob Ryder. Scott Hudson was back. Christy Hemme was back. Goldilocks. And then we had a video from AJ Styles. I mean, a lot of people there. Without them, TNA wouldn't be a thing. What was your take on all that? And which obviously probably daft question, but which one surprised you? Which one got you in the feels the most? Nixon.
I think the AJ Styles video, it didn't surprise me because it needed to be on the show. AJ Styles needed to be on the show in some form or fashion because he's the most important, apart from Jeff Jarrett, Dixie Carter, etc. He's the most important wrestler, homegrown talent from TNA. So, yeah, it was awesome to see, but yeah, he had to be on. The Kurt Angle one, I felt they could have at least sent a cameraman round. He just recorded it on his phone. But good to see Kurt on there. Obviously, the Sting video was really cool. The Mike Tenay Don West video, very poignant considering Don is fighting the battle of his life right now. Really hope he pulls through. Maybe we can put a link at the bottom of the video to his GoFundMe.
Yeah, we'll post it in the description when the video goes on YouTube.
Perfect.
And help out if you can.
Yeah. That video was really cool because when I think of TNA, Don West's voice is who I hear. You've got to be kidding. He was so important to the feel of TNA wrestling, through like 2009, I think. Dixie Carter, again, she had to be there in some form or fashion. And it was so cool to see that video, that picture that was posted online of Dixie with Billy Corgan and Ed Nordholm all standing together. That's mad considering, Billy Corgan and Dixie Carter had that lawsuit a few years ago. There was some cool, really important, significant people making their returns and appearing on the show. I'm sure they could have done more. I know, like Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, Low Key, people like that, Jerry Lynn. That would have been cool to have them on in some form or fashion. Abyss. But what we got, I think, was, sufficient.
Alec, what was your?
Yeah, there were a few that were kind of noticeably missing that I would have loved, but then you can't have everyone. This was a celebration of Impact and its past, but it wasn't a tribute show. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't okay. Let's get everybody back and none of the current people. It was to showcase the current product with those bits in a splice, and I think that's the important thing. It's not it's not Hardcore Justice 2010 or whatever it was. Do you know what I mean? It's not that. That's not what it was about. The Mike Tenay Don West thing was a great video. It was really well done. I think I'm the same with Don West. Like it was just with him. It was because he wasn't a previous wrestling guy, so it was almost he was reacting, and it was probably genuinely was like everything he was seeing for the first time, and it was that blind enthusiasm that just was infectious. And whether he knew what the fuck he was talking about, it didn't matter because Mike Tenay did.
Yeah,
and that's why it worked.
Professor.
With Mike Tenay being that straight guy, and there were moments where he sort of cracked a little bit with Don West, and that was great. But like, I think that was really cool. It was nice to see some of the other little talking head videos with AJ and Sting and people like that, and that was cool. It would have been nice for Abyss to be on there, but if you noticed the Monsters Ball hype video, the only clips of Monsters Ball they showed were of Abyss. Every single clip was Abyss. And so that didn't go over my head. Would have been nice. Christopher Daniels, I feel like was a big part. Would have been cool. But having another talking head wouldn't have added much to the actual show itself. We needed Jeremy Borash. That's the one we need.
Yeah,
I think that would have been cool. But
Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett, Jeremy Borash would have been really cool. But I enjoyed what we did get.
Yeah, I mean, I said it on Talking Points, reference that a lot, but you can go watch that on YouTube. Everyone who needed to be touched on, or just everyone who's a key part of TNA, everyone's a key part of TNA, they got a mention, they got their moment, they got their flowers, which is what it was all about, is a love letter to TNA, and it delivered. So now we're going to take it on over to the Knockouts World Championship, Queen of the Mountain, with Jordan Grace becoming the new Knockouts World Champion after defeating likes of Tasha Steelz, Chelsea Green, Yana Peraza, Mia Yim, and Mickey James as special guest enforcer. Alec, what was your take on this match, besides Tasha forgetting the rules?
I hated it. I thought it was the worst match on the entire show.
Oh.
There were things that I'm glad Jordan Grace won. I think that's the right call. I feel like Tasha Steelz as champion, for me, has felt like a failed experiment. I don't feel like she feels like a top tier champion. For me, it hasn't worked. I'd rather just see her with Savannah Evans tag titles, maybe, like going into something there, maybe. She doesn't feel on the same level as some of the others. I hated the stuff with Mickie James getting involved. Just felt like it was just in the way of the match, and took more away from it than actually adding to it. It was more about Mickie James than some of the other people in it at times, and that shouldn't really be the case. I think that Mia Yim was probably the only other option really to win the title, and I'm glad that wasn't the way they went. I feel like Jordynne Grace deserves it more. Mia Yim has got that feud with Deonna ready to go. That'll be their thing, and that quite easily could have been a feud for the title, of course. But yeah, Jordynne Grace, I think is the right choice. But then I look and think, well, if Mickie James is maybe doing something with Chelsea Green, and then you've got Mia Yim doing something with Deonna, Taya and Rosemary are doing their thing and whatever. Like, who's the feud for Jordynne Grace now? Like, I don't see an immediate one that kind of grabs me as a feud. She's the right choice to win the title. I wouldn't have a problem with her winning every title in the company at some point. But yeah, I felt the match was messy. I thought, I really didn't enjoy it.
No, that's fair enough. Nixon, what's your take on it?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was sloppy, but the first time, they're doing a knockouts Queen of the Mountain. I thought it was the right 5 to go in there and do it. I thought they did deliver. There were bits that weren't great. I was scared for Chelsea when they went through that table. She looked like she hit her head on the floor. I haven't seen any reports, so I can only assume she's okay.
Back first, so her head, gone. Would have gone back. Looked a bit nasty.
Yeah, that was grim. I predicted Mia Yim to win. I thought that was the direction they were going to go. Very happy that Jordynne Grace is the new champion, and the winner of the first ever Knockouts Queen of the Mountain. Well, of course, it's a Knockouts Queen of the Mountain. She's the right choice, and very deserving champion. I think she is one of the best wrestlers in the world. I say it every week. Absolutely no problem, like you said, Eric, with her holding every title at some point.
Yeah.
Go on.
I was gonna say I've said it before, and again on talking points, which you can go watch on the channel. I let Jordynne go full Kurt Angle, give her all the belts. I wouldn't mind in the slightest. I really wouldn't.
When you say every title, do you mean the Knockouts World title, the tag titles, and the digital media at the same time, or do you want her to be the world champion, the X Division champion?
Yeah, World X tags, Knockouts, DMC, go for it. Why the fuck not?
I don't think that's a good idea. I think that would absolutely shit on every single other wrestler in the company.
Yeah,
I think one day,
but I would. Yeah,
because she's young, she's got plenty of time. I think at some point she will be the world champion in the men's division.
Yeah, definitely. If anyone can do it, again, it's Jordynne. I can hopefully do it a lot better.
Yeah.
She's the only one
now
who could do that, and people would accept it like universally. yeah, she's great. I think she showed with the Digital Media Championship as well. She had good matches with Cardona and stuff. So yeah, I definitely think that's not immediately, but I think at some point in the future, 100%.
I think she needs to win the X Division Championship and then go option C.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I mean, wasn't Aries? No, I think it's something different. But why not make an option D out of the Knockouts World title? I mean, why not world champion versus world champion?
That'd be very cool.
If anyone can pull it off, and Jordan, it's clear Jordan Grace is an Impact person. She's an impactor for life. You can see she cares about the company and will do it right. Now we're going to take it over to the main event. Josh Alexander defeats Eric Young to retain the Impact World Championship. Again, rightfully the longest match on the card, nearly 20 minutes. Nixon, what did you think of this match?
I thought it was excellent. I enjoyed every single aspect of this match. I thought, like we said last week, the main event should be the best match on every show. And this was the best match of the show. And, we thought that would be the case because he can do everything. And I wouldn't have been offended if he won the championship here, but Josh, rightfully retained the championship. I'm hoping he has a legendary run with the championship. I couldn't fault this match at all. I loved all the little throwbacks to old school TNA, wrestlers and their moves. I loved the gear designs, with like the main event Mafia singlet on Josh and the knee pads. The whole presentation I thought was wonderful, and it was just a great back and forth contest. And yeah, best match on the show. Right guy won. I'm gonna give you my rating now. It's 10 out of 10.
Alec,
just quickly, we didn't do ratings on the Queen of the Mountain, and I would give that a lucky 4.
Not as bad as I thought.
Yes. I thought.
I think that's generous. But yeah, I'd go 4.
I would double you on that. I'd go 8.
Yeah.
You've been drinking again.
Honestly, again, I'm going to go 7 because there was a couple of a few slip ups which you can put down to it being the first time they've done this match, whatever. But it's a few mistakes and that took off the rating quite a bit for me. It could have been perfection, but a few mistakes took it down a bit for me. But anyway, back to the main event. Alec, what do you think of it? And just think about the match. What was your thoughts?
I thought it was superb. I thought it was really good. And actually, where some people sort of criticised initially when it was Eric Young that was going to be the challenger when he first sort of won the gauntlet, didn't he? And some people kind of didn't think that was a big enough main event, but actually what it was a perfect main event because Eric Young's attachment to the company for the length of time, and Eric Young is the kind of person that can do, like I say, he can do every type of match, but he was able to go in and do all the cool little tribute spots and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't necessarily about Eric Young getting all of his shit in. And it was a match to, it was like a match, and it was a tribute to TNA within a main event match. And I thought he was actually the perfect person to do that match with Josh Alexander. I thought it was fantastic overall. But one thing is that this match, all it did was highlight to me my problem with the show, because the show as a whole, and I understand why we had Ultimate X, Queen of the Mountain, Monsters Ball, all that stuff, a 10-man tag, but it just highlighted to me that on the main pay-per-view, this was the only straight one-on-one singles match. You know, yeah, Monsters Ball was one-on-one, but it was a Monsters Ball. It was very gimmicky, you know, and all the weapons and everything. This was the only straight one-on-one match, and even this, they pulled the ring back and pile drivers on the boards and stuff. So this was as close to your kind of traditional one-on-one match, and because it was the only one, I think it made it better, because at that point I was just crying out for just a fucking straight wrestling match, and I think that's partly why I enjoyed it so much. It was great. I feel like because of all the little tributes and all the little bits in there, that it's a match that I would go back and watch in a year. You know, I'd go back and watch it just to watch all those little things. Yeah, but I think it highlighted to me what I didn't enjoy about the show. It was just, for me, it was just too much, you know, in terms of the matches, too much, you know, every gimmick match you can think of. And I get why. I do understand entirely why.
Yeah.
But all of them on the same night, for me, doesn't work. But yeah, but the main event was fantastic.
Well, Nixon gave his rating. What do you give it out of 10?
Yeah, 10. 10 all day long.
Alec?
9.5.
That's fair.
I would
Yes.
got rid of VBD from ringside,
Yeah.
and made it and just had the two of them personally. But yeah, but it was very close to a 10 though. But yeah, 9.5.
I think I go for a straight 9 on it, because even though it was a great main event, nothing past 3 years for me has warranted a 10 out of 10. This is as close as you can get to perfection. They didn't miss a beat. They nailed it. But there's a couple of things in there that I didn't necessarily like. So for me, it's a straight 9. But overall, for the pay-per-view as a whole, match to match, what do you give it out of 10? Alec, we'll start with you this time.
I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 7, and that's the main event pulling it up to a 7.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, I'll say I think partly I had personally set my expectations too high, because Impact does not do bad pay-per-views and specials. You know what I mean? It's, you know, Under Siege was great. You know, Hard to Kill was great. You know, they were on a run. For me, I know I was, you know, loving everything. It felt like this was kind of a culmination of build of several big shows, and then because it was just throwing absolutely everything onto one show, it was just too much for me. But yeah, 7.
Nixon, looking up to you.
Aces and 8.
8. Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
I think I go 8.5, because I really did enjoy it, and it was like I said, it was a love letter for TNA fans, and we said it leading up to it. We said it on the predictions. I've said it all throughout Slammiversary. This show was going to be nostalgia heavy, and it delivered, but not in an overbooked sense. Nostalgia was there, and I think that's everything I was expecting happened, minus Good Brothers winning tag titles. but I think as far as it goes, I think 8.5. All in all, a really good show, because Impact, I keep saying it, I need to get on a t-shirt or something, but Impact are at a level. They never, ever drop below it. They only go above it. And that's, and we'll call that a pod for another week. Alec, thanks for coming on. If you want to let everyone know where they can find you, where they can see DOA, have at it.
Yeah, well, there's no need to find me personally. But yeah, DOA Wrestling on all social medias, type DOA Wrestling UK, you'll find us. I will say this goes on a Thursday night, right? At like 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, yes.
So if someone tunes into this, DOA's last show, Big F and Joe's Big F and Show, airs on Fight TV at 8 o'clock. So if you've tuned in for this, then when this finishes, you can go back and watch that on demand, because that'll be straight up on there. You can just click watch from start and enjoy that. It was a really good show. Sorry?
For free.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you don't even have to sign up. You can literally just go on and click play. Yeah, obviously any support for that is appreciated. The show itself is, I think, one of our best shows. And I think people are going to really enjoy it. Couple particular highlights. The main event was great, with Big F and Joe and Brett Semtex. But also CJ Carter and Aaron O'Malley absolutely knocked it out of the park. So, but it was a really good show overall. So people should definitely check that out. And yeah, that's about it for now. Yeah.
There you have it. Of course, you can find us here, there, and everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you podcast. I've been the MIC. This has been Nixon. He's been Alec Burnitt. Until next time, goodbye, my friends.